What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Heat Check podcast. After the amazing support we had from week one, we cannot thank you enough. So just wanted to go ahead and start it off and saying thank you, getting that our most viewed video on the channel. We put a lot of hard time, work, all of that into that season premiere and as well as the fantasy episode. So the support we've been seeing so far is very much appreciated. And we hope that that can carry on throughout the season because there's a whole season of football for us to cover, and that just means more and more content for y'all every single week, 2 days a week. So, yeah, let's get right into it. We know this is a little bit late. Some delays ended up going on, but let's get right into an action-packed week one. This has got to be one of the more entertaining week ones that I know that comes to mind. And in my opinion, what kicked it off, I'm just going to get right into it. My game of the week this week, I got to give it to Cowboys versus Bucks. How could you not? It kicked off the season. Tampa came in like they were about to just steal the show, completely blow the Cowboys out, and the Cowboys gave them a run for their money. You can call it bias all you want, but that's one of the most entertaining kickoff games I've seen in a while because usually they are duds. They're pretty much runaways at this point. But Cowboys versus Bucks was a phenomenal game. I liked it a lot better than Ravens versus Raiders. You can say whatever about the ending, but that game was so sloppy compared to the Bucks versus Cowboys, where yes, there were turnovers, but offensively, these teams lived up to the potential. They lived up to the hype. Defensively, the Cowboys played a hell of a lot better than a lot of people expected them to, even though they gave up a lot of points. They caused turnovers. So I think Cowboys versus Bucks really highlighted this week and started off the NFL season on a great note. What about you? What do you think is the greatest highlights from this past week?
Oh, that was a great season opener. I would probably chat, but I'll go ahead and talk about the Raiders and the Ravens on Monday night since you already took over the Cowboys. Great game between the Raiders and the Ravens, an overtime game. I don't know if any other games went to overtime this week. That might have been the only one. I could be mistaken, though. But
Vikings
a
versus
great game from
Bengals.
Derek Carr. Okay, yeah, that one too. But a great game from Derek Carr. Derek Carr really showed up. He threw for over 400 yards against a pretty good Ravens secondary. They don't have Marcus Peters anymore, of course, because he did tear his ACL, like many Ravens have been. So they were pretty shorthanded. They're waiting on Rashad Bateman to come back. But Derek Carr just picked them apart. Waller had a great game. And how about that Brian Edwards kid coming out there and becoming just a clutch player in overtime, exactly what they needed, the X factor receiver that they were lacking last year. Hopefully he can grow into a big role in this offense. And I mean, Lamar, you fumbled twice. I mean, what do you can't expect to win that game if you fumble twice. You're a superstar in the NFL, and I mean, you gave the game away in overtime. The Raiders gave it away first, and you gave it right back when you had an opportunity to just go down and kick an easy field goal to win it. That was a fun game to watch, though.
Yeah, I mean, to start off the season, we had great team performances, but individual performances, they did not lack. I'm going to get straight into my offensive player of the week. I got to give it a Tyreek Hill. This man almost put up 200 receiving yards in his first game. How insane that is to me. I just cannot believe people are saying, oh, Kyler had the performance of the week. No, I liked Kyler a lot. You heard in the other episode, I did think Kyler was right there behind Tyreek Hill. But there's no way in hell someone can put up nearly 200 receiving yards. It's week one. 11 receptions, 197 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyreek Hill almost becoming the highest scoring fantasy player this past week. Cooper beat him out by literally 1 point. Tyreek Hill had a fantastic week. I'm gonna give him my offensive player of the week because, goddamn, he's just too fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, there's no debate this week between players, really. I mean, it's Chandler Jones. This is one of the best defensive performances of all time, especially this week. And this guy is putting up. He's got a good start to being the defensive player of the year. He's probably favored right now on all betting odds. Early, he's probably defensive player of the year favorite right now. This is just a historic performance. He comes out and he is the key player of that defense. The Cardinals just shined, and he was the biggest part of that. And not to mention, it was against Taylor Lewan, probably one of the best tackles in the game right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a team like the Cardinals, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but this doesn't show that specifically that they're going to go to as far as the links that I think they will, but it shows the potential guys with the defenses headlined by Chandler Jones, offenses headlined by Kyler Murray, and this applies to a lot of different teams out there. There are some teams that shined this past week. Let's talk about the Eagles. Holy shit, they played really good. Jalen Hurts looked really good. Devonta Smith looked like the best receiver in his draft class easily. But, don't forget about Jalen Waddle. He had a good week. And Jamar Chase, he also had a fantastic week. But, I mean, even though I hate to talk about the Eagles, I like to talk about Jalen Hurts because I had him on my fantasy team, and he showed out. Almost a 30-point performance in week 1. Jalen Hurts looked phenomenal. I think he is a future star for the Eagles, easily their franchise QB for the future. When you got a guy with the upside and the talent like Jalen Hurts, for me, it used to seem like a foolish decision to draft Hurts, but no one could have predicted what would have ended up happening to Wentz. And Hurts is able to fill in. He's been overcoming these obstacles for a whole offseason, and he's proving why he is the notable starter. So, what are your thoughts on Hurts, and how surprising is this Eagles team right now?
The Eagles came into the season as the one team in the NFC least that everyone thought had no chance. And they come out here and make a statement week 1. It was against the Falcons, who probably played one of the worst games of the week. I mean, Matt Ryan had an awful performance, just giving away the ball in the red zone, just stuff you can't do if you want to perform. But Jalen Hurts is special, man. People use the term magician a lot for quarterbacks, for like Lamar, Mahomes, and stuff like that. He's showing signs of a Lamar type of player. He's just so mobile. He can move out of the pocket, deliver a great pass. How about that pass? I think it was some back shoulder throw. Maybe it was like a backup tight end or something. He threw a perfect back shoulder throw. The tight end dives to the left and makes a crazy catch, rolling out of the pocket. I mean, he had a couple special throws. If you go back and watch that film, he was destroying the Falcons defense, and like we will see a lot of teams do this year.
I mean, the touchdown to Devonta Smith was beautiful. I mean, I did love the fact that they already have
Yeah,
that
that too.
fantastic chemistry. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams that's going to be able to guard a guy like Devonta Smith for the next coming future, because everyone already knew that he's got the speed, that he's got the route running. He's got all the components to be an elite wide receiver. I saw a lot of people comparing him to Amari Cooper. Hell, I think Devonta Smith has the potential to be better than Amari Cooper. I mean, this man was a Heisman winner in college. You've got guys that are coming into college and making an impactful statement to start off. Unlike guys like first overall pick, does that make any sense here? Because he didn't play like it. I'm talking about Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, he didn't play good. He played a bad team in the Texans, and the Texans showed them out. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for Trevor Lawrence. Did not play good at all. You can blame it on play calling, coaching. Maybe it's just rookie growing pains. I mean, it's scary. I'm not going to call him a bust, because really, first overall QBs, they never win their first game in the NFL. I mean, you can look back. The last person to win that was, I think, some guy from the Texans back in 2002. I don't know why I can't remember his name, but yeah, that's how long it's been. It's crazy. But what do you think of this kind of just weird performance from Trevor Lawrence?
We do have to give it some time. I mean, it's his first game of the NFL. We did see a lot of rookie quarterbacks play well. I think Mac Jones played really well this week. We'll talk about that a little bit later, I guess. But Trevor Lawrence, behind him since he got drafted, he just doesn't seem like he has the drive. He doesn't have the mental. I don't know. It's just something about him that just makes me feel like he's just not NFL ready. He doesn't have the drive that a lot of other quarterbacks have. He doesn't have the work ethic. It doesn't seem like. I'm not seeing a bunch of stories about him staying late at practice, arriving early. I don't know, man. He just seems like the field. He could get it straight though. I think he can. He's got some good offensive weapons around. But this run game was eliminated early because they went down so quick to the Texans. He passed over 50 times. Trevor Lawrence had to pass over 50 times, so that could be a reason why he had 3 interceptions. Maybe another week he's gonna have less passing attempts. I really hope he bounces back though. I liked watching him at Clemson. I think he's a good kid. I think he's just got to get his mind right. I think he's got to get ready. Nothing else to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a couple of weeks before we can start blaming this on Urban Meyer. And there wasn't any like singular factor here to blame this team's downfall, because it's already going down. I thought the Jags would be a team to maybe pull out like a 5-win season. They weren't going to be good at all, but maybe Trevor Lawrence could get something rallying behind them. But it's going to take a couple of weeks before we realize that, hey, maybe Urban Meyer might not be an NFL ready coach. But we'll get to see. But when it comes to NFL ready, I mean, we saw guys like Mac Jones, as you said, and Zach Wilson also looked pretty good. Almost won his debut. Trey Lance came in, got a touchdown. Same thing with Justin Fields. It seemed like every QB this week has shined outside of Trevor Lawrence. And if I'm the Jags, that's a little bit worrying. Not really for his future, but in fact of what are we going to see out of him this season that we aren't going to see from other quarterbacks. And that's something that I don't want to fear for Trevor Lawrence because he is a fantastic talent. But as a first overall pick, you got to show that difference. And this first week performance definitely made him seem like he was an underlying factor compared to these other QBs. But let's get straight into our week 2 preview, starting off with big news. Cowboys have been hit with a lot of injuries. Gallup, Lawrence, and then you got Lyle Collins being suspended. There's a lot of things that are going on with this Cowboys team. It seems like bad luck. I don't want to just, be superstitious about it, but it sucks because they got a tough challenge up against the LA Chargers. And I was about to give this game of the week because they're two great offenses going up against two younger defenses in my eyes. And I do think this probably would have ended up being the game of the week, but I don't know how these injuries are going to fare out. So do you think the Cowboys have a chance here? Because honestly, the offense might be able to compete, but I see another Bucks versus Cowboys thing. They're going to be competitive, but there's not really going to be a realistic chance that they win this game.
I 100% think there's a realistic chance that they win this game. Their quarterback is Dak Prescott. He is a leader. He has become one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL after what I saw last week. He's a humble guy. He's your best defensive player in Marcus Lawrence. I think Randy Gregory's going to be out. The Cowboys can do it, man. You just got to have basically a perfect offensive performance from Dak and CD and Amari Cooper because the defense is not going to be that strong. You might have to hope for interception or a fumble, but I really do think that there's a chance the Cowboys can win this game. The Chargers opening as 3-point favorites in this game. I mean, it's not that much of a long shot in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me trying to be Debbie Downer or whatever. I do like Dak. I do think he's going to be able to lead us to give us a chance. But we've got guys like Micah Parsons could be seeing coming off the edge a lot more. And that doesn't really sound all that great to me because I do like him in coverage a lot. And relying on guys like Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, who have seen problems in coverage over the past couple of years, major problems in coverage, especially with Jalen Smith. They were given limited roles last game, and they played good in those limited roles. And it seemed like we had that defensive scheme going, and then we lose some of the biggest parts of that scheme, and it really sucks. But I think if we do win this game, Trayvon Diggs is the name you're going to be hearing. I'm telling you, Trayvon Diggs is going to have to be a big factor here. Because in my eyes, he's going to be one of the only guys that's going to be able to create some noise and some pride for this defense this week. But let's get straight into the highlights of week 2. Let's not get all depressed, whatever. Let's get into the game of the week. What do you think the next week is going to be headlined by?
Chiefs, Ravens, Sunday night, prime time. I mean, I can't wait for this game. Lamar has a chance to prove himself this week. He's 0-3 against Mahomes in his career. We all know that. He struggles against him. I really want Lamar to win this game. I want the Ravens to win this game. I think that they can win this game. They're going to have a good defensive performance, which is very tough versus the Chiefs. I think this is going to be the game of the week, though. Patrick Mahomes just loves prime time. I mean, he just lives for it. I mean, what better show can you ask for other than two electric quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes on a Sunday night football game? I'll definitely be tuning in, watching that game, and then waking up for school 5 hours later with no sleep.
All right. I'm going to disagree. I think game of the week here is going to be Titans versus Hawks. Bad defenses, good offenses. That means high scoring. I love that. I've got potential here to see one of the greatest offensive performances here that we will ever see. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be Rams Chiefs Monday Night Football from a few years back, but I mean, it's got the potential. You've got two good quarterbacks here. One's obviously better, but two good quarterbacks. You've got a great running back and not that bad of a running game over there in Seattle with Chris Carson. And then you've got two wide receiver cores that are so electric. And they can have breakout play after breakout play on both sides of the ball. This screams just primetime football. This is going to be an amazing game to watch. And I've got the Titans finally getting their shit together because I do think the Hawks have just a little bit of a worse defense because I think the Titans might be able to have some pressure against that horrible Seahawks offensive line. And I think with that, we'll be able to relieve some stress from their bad secondary. The Hawks, I don't think they'll be able to have an answer to guys like A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry. And don't forget, Julio Jones still exists. So I'm going to have the Titans coming out on this one, 32-28. This is going to be a high-scoring game. It could go higher than that, but I'm not going to get too crazy here. I'm not going to be like, 42 to 30, 38 or something like that. I'm not going to go too overboard. But let's get straight into upset of the week, though. We saw a big upset in the Eagles versus the Falcons. You could say that was an upset. In my eyes, I think Saints was a bigger upset, but Eagles versus Falcons was definitely an upset. Eagles versus Niners will be another upset. I'm going to ride on the Jalen Hurts train. I think the Eagles are going to beat the Niners this week. The Niners don't look good. I'm sorry, their defense scares me. There's no way you can have that elite of a defense 2 years ago, and now just with a couple of changes and a couple of veteran losses, you are now giving up that many points to the Detroit Lions. Jamal Williams made himself look like Jamal Charles. That's crazy how good he played, how good he looked. Not to mention DeAndre Swift looked good. They made guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a rookie receiver, who has a lot of potential, but he shouldn't be playing that good. Quintez Cephas shouldn't be playing that good. TJ Hockenson looked like a young Travis Kelce out there. How in the hell can I trust this Niners team? I'm going to go with the Eagles here. 20-17. This is going to be a close one, but I think Jalen Hurts gets it done against San Francisco.
My upset of the week is going to be something that you just got done talking about. The Titans are 6.5-point underdogs versus the Seahawks this week. I think they're going to bounce back. I can see Julio getting a 2-touchdown game, 100-yard, vintage Julio game, and coming out here and torching the Cardinals. I mean, not the Cardinals, the Seahawks. Another different, wrong bird. It's a Tannehill revenge game. It's a Derrick Henry revenge game. It is just a full Titans revenge game in my eyes. I think they're going to bounce back.
Yeah, we got a great week of football here, ladies and gentlemen. There's just another great lineup. There's so many good offenses to watch around the league. With that is going to come a lot of great fantasy performances. But, I mean, come on. We're not going to get into that episode. You got to tune in tomorrow. So, guys, that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching so much. If you enjoyed this episode of the Heat Check Podcast, make sure you are leaving a like. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Click that notification bell because you're going to be late. And who wants to be late to the Heat Check Podcast? I know I don't. I know Joey doesn't. But, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Once again, we support every single one of y'all. We support you for supporting us because, there is no Heat Check Podcast without the fans. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.